There are few images in basketball that feel instantly iconic. The quiet confidence of a point guard pulling up from deep, a wave off to the opponent after a buzzer beater, the single last look that says, "I'm taking this." Dame Lillard's story is braided from those images. A steady, unhurried ascension that became thunderous precisely because he never let the noise change the work.
Dame Lillard is absolutely on fire.
Good Brooks, dancing free. Yeah! 11 trays, that is a team record.
This is The Long Take. The boy from Oakland who learned to let his game speak, the Weber State grind that taught him craft and poise, the Trailblazers pick that locked a franchise's identity to a single heartbeat, the clutch moments that converted a reputation into legend, the later chapters of trade, reinvention, injury and return. Start in Oakland. A kid with a basketball and a quiet stubbornness. Lillard's early life is not fireworks, it's repetition and an insistence on craft. Weber State was his first big stage, an underrated laboratory where a smart, undersized guard learned the fine mechanics of scoring, footwork, and game management. Those college minutes weren't merely resume points, they were apprenticeship. When Portland selected him 6th overall in the 2012 draft, the selection looked like faith in fundamentals over flash, a guard from a mid-major who carried a plan as much as potential. The league watched with a curious optimism. Lillard's combination of pull-up accuracy, pace control, and mid-range craft promised something rare, a creator comfortable with the clock and fearless with the moment. From rookie year to franchise spine, the early pages of Lillard's career read like a manual in shot-making and leadership. He arrived in Portland and immediately took the keys. Rookie of the Year honored the box score, but what the numbers didn't catch was habit. The late-night repetition, the film room devotions, the quiet conversations with trainers and coaches about arcs and release points. Portland's identity tightened around him. His pull-up, his ability to finish through contact, his feel for pace. He had the rare quality of carrying offensive load without surrendering the team's moral center. The Blazers were a team in a smaller market, and Lillard became both its amplifier and mirror. Louder nights made the city louder. Quieter moments showed where the team still needed to grow. The clips that stitched his legend together belong in slow motion. April 23rd, 2019, then the night he drained a 37-footer at the buzzer to eliminate the Oklahoma City Thunder, is not only an ending of a game, it is ritual. 70 feet of pressure, one small pocket of space, and the perfect extension of hand to net. He walked off that floor, waved the Thunder off the court, and with that motion wrote a line in the book of clutch performances that will be replayed for generations. That moment crystallized a truth about Lillard. He does not seek the moment. He manufactures the circumstance in which the moment must be taken and then executes with the composure of someone who has already accepted outcome as secondary to responsibility. And then there are nights that rewrite what a single scoring outburst can look like. February 26th, 2023, 71 points, 13 threes, a franchise record and a demonstration of pure offensive mastery. It wasn't just volume, it was the architecture of heat checks and self-belief, shot selection and killer instinct combined. Lillard's 71 was a statement about how, in modern NBA contexts, a player can force a night into legend while still serving his team's flow. Those kinds of games are windows into temperament as much as talent, an assertion that he will be the crucial engine even when the surrounding roster falters. If I am telling this story for my audience, I need to slow down the film room moments that make Lillard's technique legible. Pause on the catch, his feet already finding the tiny angles before the ball lands. Show the release in micro frames, compact, wrist-knifed, the follow-through that points like a compass. Cut to the drive, the subtle pump, the shoulder dip that sells contact, the Euro step footwork that leaves defenders lunging at air. Lillard's craft is in the small corrections, a midpoint hop to recalibrate elevation, an offset dribble to sharpen the angle, repeated until they become instinct. Those are the mechanical truths people will watch and try to steal. Lillard is the sum of signature plays and steady seasons, but he is also defined by relationships between him and teammates, him and a city, him and the moment. Portland became inseparable from Dame time, a cultural shorthand for late clock certainty. The city embraced him as both a sacred spark and its living scoreboard. He gave back in service and solidarity, community work, public presence, the small kindnesses that made him more than a jersey number. That civic bond intensified every late-game buzzer and every playoff run. Heroes are sometimes made by the towns that need them most, and Portland needed Lillard's combination of loyalty and brilliance. But greatness in the modern game is also measured by movement, trades, new contexts, the business calculus that can pull a player and his narrative across the map. Lillard asked for a change, and in a seismic roster move, was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks in 2023, a transition that tested everything about identity and adaptation. New city, new system, a pairing with Giannis Antetokounmpo that combined two different engines of offense, one interior unstoppable force, one perimeter sniper with ice in his veins. Lillard's first seasons away from Portland demonstrated his adaptability. Still a scorer, still a late-game decision-maker, but now in partnership with another franchise centerpiece, trading the lone hero canvas for orchestration on a deeper roster. The trade was headline news, but the real story was how Lillard reinserted his craft into a vehicle that asked him to share and to amplify. Milwaukee chapters brought new high notes and new challenges. Regular season brilliance continued, efficient scoring, creative passing, late-night exploitation of mismatches, and Lillard earned all-star nods wearing new colors. But the physical ledger grew more complicated. In March 2025, concerns about deep vein thrombosis in his cuff paused the season, a medical scare that the team and fans watched with held breath. Lillard returned briefly after treatment, then suffered a non-contact left calf injury in the 2025 playoffs that culminated in a torn Achilles, a career-shuddering blow that ended his season and reshaped the landscape immediately. The injury's mechanics and the medical narrative that followed remind us that seasonal arcs are fragile. A single mechanical misstep can alter the course of effort and memory. The human dimension here is essential. Lillard's response to setbacks was not melodramatic public speech, it was process. Rehab, cinema of tiny drills, the minute-by-minute adjustments that make comebacks possible. After the Bucks waived him in July 2025, Damian chose home. He signed a 3-year deal to return to the Trailblazers in July 2025. A profile like this must also trace the quieter evolutionary arcs. The mid-range mastery that feels vintage but is imminently modern in Lillard's hands. The way he orchestrates pick and rolls, not merely by scoring but by creating read and react opportunities for cutters and shooters. The sly assists that arrive from angles defenders forgot to cover. Emphasize the way he reads help defenders, how he times his step back when a big hangs on the edge of the paint, and how he converts contested floaters when the three is clogged. Those are the moments that make him not just a scorer, but a floor general who measures value in points per possession rather than purely in headline numbers. Comparisons sharpen the frame without reducing the man. Pair Lillard against classic late-game kings and you get a lineage. Ray Allen's pure catch-and-shoot mechanics, Reggie Miller's cold-blooded late-game marksmanship, and Michael Jordan's knack for taking the last shot. But Lillard is not a simple heir to any single one. He blends micro footwork, a cousin to Allen's repeatability, the mental ice of Miller, and a late-game insistence that echoes Jordan's hunger. Against modern peers, he shares court style with the likes of Luka Doncic in creation and with Stephen Curry in perimeter execution. But Lillard's signature is different, an aggressive mid-range and deep hybrid that lets him be lethal from all shapes and sizes of possession. In the conversation about the clutchest guards of the 2010s and 2020s, Lillard appears beside the era's greats not as a copy, but as a distinct template, creator, closer, poet of the late clock. His cultural voice matters too. Damian is also Dame D-O-L-L-A, a rapper, a storyteller who translates his life into verse. That artistic practice is no mere hobby.
They can't do it the way I do it. Move around this bitch fluid.
It's a parallel expression of the same impulse that drives his basketball. Rhythm, cadence, timing, and the search for the exact moment to land a line. In a film cut, link his studio sessions and mic time with the photographed repetitions on the court. Both are about rhythm and finding the moment where all pieces line up. It's a detail that humanizes and deepens, an athlete who thinks in music and a musician who thinks in spacing, both crafts requiring attending to microtime. Tactically, Lillard's game forced opponents to adapt. Teams tried physicaling him at the perimeter, sending double teams that invited kickouts, or switching bigger defenders onto him to take away his drive. Lillard countered with pick-and-roll reads, quick reads to cutters, and the occasional season-flipping 50-plus point eruption that made teams respect his range at all times. More than the shot, his presence altered rotations. Defenders cheated a step early and paid in open corners. That strategic influence is an essential part of the story. A single player who consistently forces alignment shifts across opponents creates value that is more than box score visible. And then, the ledger. Lillard's awards and milestones, Rookie of the Year, multiple All-Star selections, All-NBA nods, Olympic Gold Team member in 2021, franchise records in Portland for points and three-pointers, and those immortal single-game lines are the visible skeleton of a career. But the muscle and voice that fill that skeleton are the choices. How he prepared, how he answered criticism, how he left and returned, and how he continues to define the narrative arc in public and private. The Achilles tear and medical arc deserve sensitive treatment. Injury narratives can become painful or exploitative if handled clumsily. These are the human beats that connect fans to the athlete beyond highlight reels. This is not a tragedy. It is a thread in a larger life. It tests the player, highlights the human limits of athleticism, and reveals how modern sports medicine and disciplined rehabilitation can attempt to buy time and shape comebacks. Cite the clinical facts where needed. The April 2025 torn Achilles diagnosis, the DVT scare in March 2025, the waiver by Milwaukee, and the July 2025 return to Portland. Damian Lillard's story is theatre and patience, the relentless small decisions that compile into the shock of a finished work. He taught a generation about the poetry of the late clock, the dignity of craft, and the stubbornness of loyalty. Whether he racks the headlines again with 50-point nights or builds his second act in leadership and mentorship, his imprint on the sport is secure. Not because he put up numbers, but because he turned private devotion into moments that a city and a sport keep replaying when they want to remember what courage under pressure looks like.